Hello, all my favorite eighth graders. It's good to be able to talk to you today. I've been holding up in my basement for the last few days. Unfortunately, I'm going to be out until Tuesday, February 1st, so I will be back that day. I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody. By then, hopefully, I will have taken care of all this really ugly facial hair. But I wanted to kind of discuss with you today what you're going to be working on for your project today, which is Friday, and then the following Monday, and then even Tuesday when I'm back. So you're going to be working on this project for the next 3 days. On Google Classroom for me, please follow with me and go to your Going to Oregon worksheet. Just kind of wanted to discuss this with you, go over it before we get into your project, because a lot of this stuff will be things that you can really utilize with your project. Listed below, you can see some of the items that are typically found in a covered wagon or a prairie schooner. Remember prairie schooners? Of course, that wonderful video I showed you, and you guys kind of got to see them too while you've been playing the video game. But those prairie schooners, when they're heading west, these are just some of the items that people may have taken. So just go ahead and give the list a look, and as you notice it, you'll kind of see some different categories here. Obviously, you're going to be, staying the night within your wagon or within a tent, so you're going to need all these materials. Weapons, you saw playing the Oregon Trail video game that hunting was an option. You'd also need it for personal protection, lots of other things. Food is going to be big. We'll talk more on that in a minute. Obviously, you're going to need, cooking utensils, because you can't stop at McDonald's on your way out, or sad for me, you couldn't stop at Taco Bell. That's my favorite restaurant for fast food anyway. Tools, just different things that you might need along the way. Clothing, obviously, you're going to need warm clothing. Just some miscellaneous information, miscellaneous things that you could take, and then some beasts of burden. These are basically the animals that you would have either pulling your wagon or that you just may want, for farm animals once you get out to Oregon. So for question one, why would pioneers carry a tent? Pretty easy here. You're going to need a place to sleep in, and unless you're sleeping in your wagon, having a tent like many of you might do in the spring or summertime or the fall with your families, when you go to campsites, it's going to be very similar with what the pioneers here are trying to do. Question number two, the purpose for carrying a weapon. And by the way, you guys can write these down because it might be useful for you once we go into your Oregon Trail brochure assignment here in a minute. But purpose carrying a weapon, a few different ones. Obviously, hunting is going to be huge. You saw by playing the video game that, hunting allows you to get a lot of food. And so if you didn't have any, that was a way for you to get it. But it was also for protection. There weren't police stations out on the Oregon Trail because all that area was unestablished. There weren't towns and cities out there yet. And so you were your own police officer. You were your own army. And if someone, a bandit came in the night, as some of you probably had happen in your Oregon Trail game, you needed to be able to defend yourself. So multiple uses for that. Number three, extra lead and bullet molds are going to be really useful for making your own bullets, because again, you saw, you can stop at some of the forts along the way or maybe trade with others on the trail. But if you don't have those resources, or if you don't have anything to trade, or you don't have any money to give, at least you can make your own bullets. Why so many dried foods for number four? So again, there was no grocery stores to stop at. There were no meat markets. You literally had to come up with your own food. You couldn't just, what's the nearest fast food joint, or what's the nearest sit down restaurant. Like that wasn't an option. So a lot of times they'd bring dried foods because they can be preserved longer. Salted foods were definitely a big thing back then, because you're not going to have an ice chest with you. You're not going to have a refrigerator with you. So the salt would at least preserve a lot of the things like meat and the raw goods for a longer period of time. Number five, why were each of these important? Water kegs, again, you might not have a consistent source of water. Again, you can't just stop everywhere. So when you did stop by a lake, a stream, a river, people would fill up their water kegs so they would have fresh water for drinking or cooking or, washing, bathing. Lots of different, things you could do once you had your water keg. Matches, obviously, for starting fires. Having lanterns, is also for protection. Like if you've got a fire at night, that's going to keep animals away, hopefully. Sunbonnets and felt hats you would want, depending on the conditions of the weather. you might not want to have a severe sunburn if you're going to be out in the sun all day, every day. And so you'd want to have those different types of clothing. Number 6, the beasts of burden that you chose, kind of up to you. A lot of people use oxen because they're the strongest. Mules are going to be, not able to pull as much, but they're probably going to be a little bit quicker. Horses, obviously, you're going to be able to go out and ride the horses. A milk cow, maybe your family is just really into milk, or you want to be able to butcher something for beef later on. So lots of different reasons to choose different animals. Number 7 is animals tired, the weather turned ugly, things slowed down. You're often forced to throw items away. So what types of items would you have thrown away first? My guess is for a lot of you, the answer is always my little brother, my little sister. Okay. But for many of you, you'd want to throw away those unnecessary items. Maybe home furniture is not super useful. Maybe, you don't need all the different types of clothing. Just lots of different options that you might have to throw out. Number 8, why would you even go out to Oregon? There was, if you remember from the beginning of this unit, 1 free square mile of land if you were a married couple. So the U.S. government was trying to encourage people to go out there, and who wouldn't want free land? Obviously it's going to be risky in going out there and doing that, but if you were successful, a lot of good things could come from that. Lastly, number 9, how could large-scale farmers benefit from the Oregon country? Just by buying up land or trading for land with people. This was a really, good way if you were a land speculator, someone who wanted to just go buy up land and then resell it to other people. This was a phenomenal opportunity that you would see in Oregon. You can head back out to Google Classroom and then go ahead and click on the other document, please, and I will get that with you right here. And this is going to be your assignment that you're going to be working on today, which is Friday. If you're absent on Friday, you can watch this video on Monday, and it'll tell you the same thing. But we're going to work on this Monday, which is going to be the 31st. And then the day I get back, Tuesday the 1st, you'll be working on this as well. So I'll be able to answer questions in person. Tuesday will be the last day you're allowed to work on this in class. This is going to be due on Wednesday, February 2nd. So just be aware of that. You're going to have 3 full days in class to work on this. And again, I'll be back that Tuesday. So hopefully when I'm back Tuesday, it'll give you guys an opportunity to, ask me questions. I'll be able to, chat with some of you who might have had questions, since I've been gone for 6 days and all that good stuff. So anyway, here's your Oregon Trail brochure assignment. You are going to pretend that you're a person who successfully traveled the Oregon Trail from Independence, Missouri, which is where the trail starts, to the Willamette Valley of Oregon. You want to share your experience and insight to help those who have yet to make the journey. To do this, you will create a travel brochure for other pioneers to read before hitting the trail. Your brochure should be a trifold brochure, which means it should create 6 panels of information. So in the back of my class, I have these little white copy pieces of paper. If you run out, go ask Mr. Smith and he can get you more, but there should be enough back in the back of the room. How you're going to create your 6-panel brochure. You're going to fold this into thirds. Now this might be difficult for some of you who, spatially, maybe you struggle a little bit. So I don't care if you do it hot dog style or if you do it hamburger style. That is totally up to you. I normally prefer hamburger style. I'll go ahead and show you what this looks like. So again, I'm going to take my paper. I'm going to fold it and fold it. And then I'm just going to press down here and press down right here. And as you can see, I've got a 6-panel brochure. Now, as you look at this, you might say, Mr. B, you've only got 3. Turn it over, kids. 3 plus 3 is 6. So this is your 6-panel brochure, and this is what you're going to be creating. Now, if we had Educational Showcase this year, which I know we haven't had in a couple of years, I always have used these to display. So kind of cool to see what you all can create, and be aware these might be at Ed Showcase, so do your very best on these. So you're going to be creating this trifold brochure. If you want to, this is not for sure, it's not a requirement, but if you want to, you can choose one other partner to work with you on this assignment. So you can be in groups of no more than 2. If you prefer to work by yourself, totally fine, but you do have that option to work with one other person for this particular assignment. So brainstorm your ideas with them. Your brochure is going to be a 10-point assignment, again, due Wednesday, February 2nd, and it should include all the following things that I have here, and this is also how I'm going to be grading you. So when I go in to grade these out of 10 points, these are the things I'm looking for. Does your brochure have an appropriate title? Something like Going to Oregon, Oregon or Bus, Tips and Tricks for Traveling the Oregon Trail, something to that effect. A brief introduction to the reader that explains this advice. So maybe just starting with, hey, my partner and I, or I myself and my family, we successfully made our journey all the way out to Oregon. We want to give you some tips on how to be successful as well, something like that. Factual travel information. How long is the trail? How long does it take you to travel on it? What are the animals, the wagon, stuff that you're going to need to know? You're going to need your list of important do's and don'ts. Notice I have this in bold. That's because this is what I'm looking for more than anything. I'm looking for at least 3, but preferably more. I'm looking for 4, 5, etc. of each of the do's and don'ts. What do I mean by that? Things that you want to do on the trail versus things you don't want to do on the trail. All right. Other creative flair ideas that you want to add, maybe symbols, illustrations, graphics, pictures. I'm looking for this to be colored. I'm looking for this to stand out. I'm looking for design. I'm looking for your creativity with this assignment. One panel, if you choose, may include sponsors or advertising that are appropriate for the time period. So, Basim's buckskin pants would be fine. Christensen's Conestoga wagons makes perfect sense. Mr. Smith's library. Stop here to grab books before you hit the trail. I mean, something like that. That again makes sense for the time period. McDonald's doesn't make sense for the time period. Be sure your names are on the front or back panel. You just got to make sure I can find them. You shouldn't finish these prior to Tuesday. So if you finish these either Friday or Monday, I'd work a little bit longer on them because you want these to be really good. And again, I don't want these turned in prior to Tuesday. 1 or 2 good reasons to move to Oregon would be on there. Again, talk about the free land, talk about new beginnings, opportunities, things of that nature, and make sure that you have all 6 of these panels filled out. If I see a bunch of white space, in other words, space that you haven't filled, that's going to not help your score on this. So please make sure that you are filling this out in full. Again, you will have all day today, all day Monday, all day Tuesday. This is due Wednesday, February 2nd. Again, I will be back on Tuesday. I'm feeling good. Luckily, my family is all negative, tested negative, so that's been a real blessing for us. I've been doing my best to answer all of your emails and get as much graded as possible, so if you have missing work, by all means, you can still turn that stuff into me or email me with any questions. I'm checking my email all the time, so happy to help you with that. I have not forgotten that we are still going to do the Oregon Trail video game as a class, but I want to make sure I'm back for that, so that is going to be planned for Wednesday, February 2nd as well. So that second day that I'm back, we're going to plan on doing that. Again, if you guys have questions, please feel free to reach out. My email is right there. You can see me typing it. And if you have questions, you need something, by all means, reach out. Good luck with this assignment. Looking forward to seeing everybody on Tuesday. Mr. Smith told me you guys have been doing a great job dealing with all this. I really appreciate that. I haven't had any bad emails from other teachers saying, man, the kids are being awful in your room. And I just got to tell you guys, I really, really appreciate that. So we'll see everybody on Tuesday.